With the 20th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos made one of the biggest surprises of the night, selecting Texas defensive back Jahdae Barron. So who is Barron and why did Denver go this route? First, let's break down the player. Barron isn't just any cornerback, he's an incredibly versatile defender. A first-team All-SEC selection and winner of the Jim Thorpe Award, Barron proved he's one of the nation's top defensive backs. In his final season with the Longhorns, he recorded 5 interceptions and 16 pass breakups, showing off his ability to impact the game in multiple ways. But what really stands out is his role at Texas. He didn't stick to one spot. He played the star position, a hybrid role that included responsibilities at corner, nickel, and even safety. That kind of versatility makes him valuable in today's NFL, where defenses need players who can adapt and cover various threats. Physically, Barron isn't the biggest or fastest defensive back in this draft. He doesn't have elite measurables, but what he lacks in raw athleticism, he makes up for in instincts, football IQ, and pure playmaking ability. He's a smart tackler, has excellent ball skills, and just knows how to be around the ball. And Denver, they clearly saw all that. Instead of chasing a running back early, they went for someone who can become a cornerstone on defense. Even though it's unclear exactly where he'll line up in Denver's secondary, his skill set gives the coaching staff a lot of options. Under general manager George Paton, the Broncos have consistently built depth at cornerback, and this pick continues that trend. Barron brings energy, leadership, he was a team captain in 2024, and a knack for making big plays. He scored 3 non-offensive touchdowns in his college career, including a blocked punt return, a pick six, and a scoop and score. If there's a knock on him, it's that he has average size and doesn't flash elite explosiveness. He's not the guy who's going to jump off the screen with jaw-dropping athleticism, but in terms of being a well-rounded football player who can contribute right away, Barron checks the box. Now, there's more to unpack about this pick, especially considering Denver passed on other notable prospects at this spot. We'll dive into the scouting report next and break down why the Broncos went with Barron over options like Omarion Hampton or Xavier Worthy. What really makes Jahdae Barron stand out are his ball skills and tackling ability, traits that defensive coaches absolutely love. He's not just a smart player, he's physical and dependable across multiple roles in the secondary. At the NFL Combine, Barron ran a 4.39 second 40-yard dash. While that's not elite sprinter speed, it's certainly solid. For context, his former teammate Matthew Golden ran a blazing 4.29, but Barron isn't expected to match that kind of raw explosiveness. That said, he's quick enough to stay competitive in coverage and won't be a liability on the field. NFL analyst Dane Brugler had some interesting insights on Barron. According to him, while Barron may not have the ideal size that many teams look for at the position, he compensates with high football IQ, toughness, and strong instincts. He's a competitor who shows up against both the run and the pass. Some scouts view Barron strictly as a nickel corner, while others believe he has the flexibility to contribute across the entire secondary. That raises a key question for the Broncos. How do they plan to use him? If Denver sees him as a nickel-only prospect, that could raise questions about Jaquan McMillion's role moving forward. McMillion has been one of the top slot corners in the NFL over the past 2 seasons, showing consistent production and sharp instincts. Still, depth at the position is thin and injuries are always a factor. Early on, Barron might be used as a rotational piece, filling in when needed. But if McMillion's performance slips or if Riley Moss... Now let's talk about the decision Denver made by selecting Jahdae Barron instead of going with a running back, something many expected. Most mock drafts had the Broncos taking either Tre'Von Henderson or Omarion Hampton at this spot. Both were still on the board, so there's a chance Denver could trade up in the second round or hope one of them falls to their next pick. Denver has an average amount of draft capital, so a move up isn't out of the question. Either way, it still feels likely that they'll come away with a solid running back in this class. Maybe the front office didn't see Hampton or Henderson as must-take players at pick 20. It's possible they have someone like Quinshon Judkins, Tre'Von Henderson, or even Caleb Johnson ranked higher on their board for value later in the draft. If Denver doesn't take a running back on day 2, though, it would be surprising. But let's not overlook the talent they did pick. Barron is a high-level defender with versatility and playmaking skills. If the goal was to take the best player available, they probably accomplished that. Some big boards even projected him to go as early as 13th overall to Miami, so to get him at 20 could be seen as a steal. The Broncos clearly value top-tier defensive backs. When Sean Payton missed out on Patrick Mahomes back in New Orleans, he drafted Marshawn Lattimore. George Payton, in his first draft with Denver, took Patrick Surtain too, a move that wasn't universally praised at the time, but turned out to be a great pick. Now, they've got a chance to build a dynamic cornerback trio. Surtain, Riley Moss, and now Jahdae Barron. Barron brings flexibility to the defense and may even get looks at safety during training camp. He might not be an ideal fit as a traditional outside corner, but his ability to move around the secondary could be exactly what this defense needs. In the end, the Broncos passed on a flashy offensive piece in favor of a defensive cornerstone. And based on what we've seen from this front office, that might turn out to be the smarter move. As for grading the pick, I'd say it's a solid B-. The only concern is whether cornerback was a top priority, especially after a playoff season. But if Barron truly wasn't expected to be available at 20, passing on him could have been a bigger mistake.